There are moments in the life of our association and in our shared profession that deserve the opportunity to take a pause and make notice. And Dr. Noltemeyer and I today are going to do that with a tribute to the passing of our beloved colleague and friend, a giant in school psychology, Dr. Alex Thomas. So we're going to start with some remarks here from Dr. Noltemeyer.
Thank you. So I'm honored to share words with you today to recognize the legacy of Dr. Alex Thomas, who sadly passed away on August 7, 2023. Dr. Thomas had a tremendous impact on the field of school psychology. For over 18 years, he served as a dedicated school psychologist in Port Clinton, Ohio, working to support students, families, and educators. After transitioning to Miami University, he spent the next 14 years as faculty and coordinator of the school psychology program, and the last 6 years of those as department chair, where he inspired, taught, and closely mentored over 165 aspiring school psychologists, including myself. And I know this, I have a photo album that he left. He took a picture of every single cohort and kept records of everywhere that they went, things that they did. It's really pretty incredible. Alex was deeply involved in local, state, and national associations, devoting his time and leadership skills to elevate the profession and, by extension, student outcomes. In addition to serving 2 terms as NASP president and 2 terms as OSPA president, he also served as Ohio delegate to NASP, Trainers of School Psychologists president, communique editor, the Ohio School Psychologist editor, and more. Notably, his pioneering and ongoing role in Best Practices in School Psychology series was driven by his passion for developing practitioner-friendly resources to support student success. My guess is that, like myself, many of you read Best Practices in your training programs or use it in your practice for guiding your practice. Alex served as co-editor through all 7 editions of Best Practices and was fortunately able to see the last edition published shortly before his passing. Throughout his remarkable career, Alex was a practitioner at heart, always prioritizing the best interests and needs of K-12 students. He approached even the most challenging tasks and discussions with infectious humor and enthusiasm and was really the life of the party. But at the same time, Alex took the responsibility of helping students very seriously and never failed to stand up for the right thing. Although Alex received many prestigious awards for his contributions, including NASP's Lifetime Achievement Award in 2005, he was remarkably humble about his accomplishments. So as part of an issue for the Ohio School Psychologist that Rob and I are working on curating, we collected memories about Alex from a number of friends and colleagues. And I won't be able to share them all here today, but check out the issue when it comes out because they'll all be in that. But I just want to share a few. So Dr. Kathy Tusrow, Professor Emeritus, observed, despite Alex's considerable success as a faculty member and trainer of future school psychologists, he remained a practitioner at heart, never losing sight of what it takes to affect change at that level of his famously described food chain. When discussing Alex's contributions to OSPA, school psychologist Juliet Madigan noted, all of OSPA owe a special thanks to Alex for where we are as a profession today. Alex spent abundant amounts of time developing OSPA into an organization with significant respect. Dr. Kathy McNamara, Professor Emerita, she started with some lighthearted memories related to raucous celebrations at OSPA conferences in the early 1980s, so you'll have to read the full issue for that. But she also, on a more serious note, shared that Alex stood alone as a beacon of integrity and an astute observer, truth teller, and critic. And I can't think of another person in our business whom I have admired and will miss more than Alex. As 2004 OSPA President Lou Sarr stated in his nomination for Alex's NASP Lifetime Achievement Award, Dr. Thomas has a combination of keen intellect, penetrating insight, tempered with modesty that is simply without equal. When these qualities are merged with a deep concern for others and a thoroughly enjoyable sense of humor, a truly great person is the result. Finally, in his nomination letter for the same award, Professor Emeritus Kevin McLaughlin noted, through the years, Alex has promoted the profession rather than himself. His efforts always have been with a view to the greater good. He has been a champion for children and a model for young professionals. As a former student and then colleague and friend of Alex's, all these comments ring true for me as well. I often recall and apply phrases of wisdom that he shared, which I used to call Alex Thomasisms, but I later learned are really called aphorisms. If you're going to make a mistake, make the right mistake. Play nice in the sandbox. Choose your ruts carefully. You're going to be in them for a long time. Unless you do something different today, people will behave the same tomorrow. Sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. That's one I tried to use very sparingly, but for someone like me who sometimes leans more towards taking things too seriously, Alex was a refreshing and much needed reminder that sometimes you just have to loosen up, crack a joke, or just introduce some levity into a situation. When I began my faculty role at Miami, which would not have happened without his encouragement, Alex was generous with his time and expertise. My family occasionally visited Alex and Bonnie, his wife Bonnie, who is here today, at their home in Port Clinton. They were so welcoming and kind, and my kids loved Alex's sense of humor, as well as Bonnie's unbelievably good home-baked bread, so thank you, Bonnie. Alex was not only a good school psychology role model, but also a good role model for retirement, living fully and enjoying his time with Bonnie, visiting his children and grandchildren, and traveling extensively across the world. So it would be impossible to memorialize every contribution Dr. Thomas made to our field or capture the inspiring and engaging way he did so, but I hope these provide a glimpse into the broad and lasting legacy that he leaves behind. As Ann Brennan, retired executive director of OSPA, noted, Alex was a legendary leader and mentor to me and so many others. He was always most interested in shaping policy and practice that enhanced the skills of practitioners in order to better serve students. Alex was well loved and led a full and meaningful life. He smiled from ear to ear with that twinkle in his eye. May his memory be a blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Noltemeyer. For those who are not aware, when Alex retired from his faculty position at Miami University, it was Dr. Noltemeyer who succeeded him, and I think we can all agree she's a very worthy successor to his legacy in that institution. Clearly, my dear colleagues, Alex was an absolute giant as a school psychologist, professor, trainer, scholar, and leader. At his core, though, he was a practitioner's practitioner. He was constantly mindful that our profession needed to get training, resources, and support to practitioners in all corners of our country. His life's work was based in helping school psychologist practitioners. Dr. Noltemeyer and I have been honored with the opportunity to travel to the NASP convention in New Orleans this February to be part of a formal tribute to Alex at the national level. We will take these and other remembrances with us. But for today, it's about recognizing Alex's immense and incalculable contributions to school psychology in Ohio. Therefore, we are pleased to share with everyone here that by unanimous vote, OSPA's Executive Board has renamed our annual Practitioner Award to be the Alex Thomas Ohio School Psychologist of the Year Award. We are very pleased, we are very honored to have with us today our most special guest, Alex's wife, Mrs. Bonnie Thomas. Mrs. Thomas, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for sharing your beloved husband with school psychologists here in Ohio and across the country. Thank you for sharing him with the children and families that we all serve. We are forever in your debt and can't do enough to express our appreciation to you and your family. Thank you, Mrs. Thomas. Thank you.